Yesterday we started Siman Tov Reish Mem Aleph, which deals with the halachas of saying a bracha on the sukkah when we build it. You go up to someone and you ask, "What's the bracha when you build a sukkah?" I have no clue what you're talking about. That's what we're learning about yesterday. Why is there no bracha? Maybe there is a bracha. And then in addition, the bracha of Shehechiyanu. Why don't we say Shehechiyanu? Do we say Shehechiyanu? How do we do it? So that's what we started learning about yesterday. We learned the Torah Shulchan Aruch yesterday. We also took a look at the Lavush. So today we're going to proceed to the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah is commenting on the Shulchan Aruch over here, who says that someone who makes a sukkah, whether for himself or someone else, does not recite a bracha when he makes the sukkah. He doesn't say a bracha. So the Mishnah Berurah says, "She'ein asiyaso gamar mitzvasa sharisarach liyeshev bach." Because the making of the sukkah isn't the completing of the mitzvah, because you still need to sit in it. This is really what we learned yesterday, that we only recite a bracha on something which is the completion of a mitzvah, and therefore, since building a sukkah isn't the completion of the mitzvah, bracha is not recited. Shulchan Aruch continues and says, but the truth of the matter is that the bracha of shechiyanu is really fitting to be made. Really, you should make the bracha of shechiyanu, because after all, it's something new. When you make a sukkah for yourself, rather, this says the Shulchan Aruch, we just rely on the shechiyanu that we're going to recite during kiddush. Mishnah Berurah says, Shehechiyanu, v'dafka davar she'oisin oisim yishan l'shan. This is straight out of the Magen Avram, which we already learned last session. This is v'dafka davar she'oisin oisim yishan l'shan. This is specifically something that we do annually. We do once a year. That's when we say the bracha of Shehechiyanu. Conversely, of al shofar megillah she'oisin oisim l'kama shanim. Whereas when it comes to blowing the shofar, laning the Megillah, that you do for many years. Which means you make one. How often do you get a new shofar? How often do you write a new klaf in the Megillah? You make new parchment and you write a Megillah for Megillah Esther. Not as often. So therefore, shofar and Megillah, which you do for many years, einu mevarach shechiyanu alas yasin. You don't recite the bracha of shechiyanu when you make them, because it's not every single year, annually, automatic. Similarly, Chanukah, when you make a menorah, it's not recognizable you're doing as a mitzvah, and therefore you don't say a shechiyanu. Really, it was fitting that you should make a shechiyanu. It's fitting. The same halacha applies if you had a sukkah which was previously built, and now you make something new on the sukkah, so to say. You make it invalid, and then you make it kosher again. Then the fanos, meaning it only had two walls. And this fellow over here, he completed the walls right now. Or made something new in the schach, the Ritva explains. Same idea, you should technically make a shechiyanu. But we rely on the shechiyanu that we make ala kos on the cup. Next Mishnah Berurah and Dalid, Shukai al mitzvah sukkah v'alachag. Because that refers to both the mitzvah of sukkah and the actual holiday itself. So therefore, we're killing two birds with one stone with kiddush. We're making the shechiyanu fulfills our obligation of the potential shechiyanu on the Yom Tov itself, and furthermore, the shechiyanu covers the mitzvah of sukkah. The shechiyanu that we needed to make for making the sukkah. The Rama continues, and the Rama says, "V'im lo achal laila rishoyna b'sukkah." Let's say you didn't eat in the sukkah on the first night. Afal pisha berach zman bebeso. Even though he recited the bracha of Shehechiyanu in his house. Kisha oichel b'sukkah. This we learned yesterday. This is all in the base. So he said, "Kisha oichel b'sukkah sarich lavarach zman mishum sukkah." When you are going to eat in the sukkah, you need to recite the bracha of Shehechiyanu because of the sukkah itself. What this is saying over here, according to the Rama, we saw the Bach in his Chuvas, his child's Chuvas already argues on this ruling of the Rama. The Bereit have quoted in short, Dagam Mervava, others. But according to this Rama, you would actually need to say a new Shehechiyanu. According to the Bach, you wouldn't. According to the Rama, You didn't eat in the sukkah on the first night of Sukkos. Let's say it was torrential downpour, a lot of rain. So you made the bracha of shechiyanu in your house. You had to for the yontif. You have to say shechiyanu. But guess what? Now you can't fulfill your obligation of the shechiyanu that you need to make for the mitzvah of sukkah when you make it in the sukkah. So you need to make the the bracha of shechiyanu when you get back in your sukkah again, which is very logical because the shechiyanu that we make during kiddush doesn't cover our obligation. The shechiyanu that we need to say when we shake the lulav, when we shake the dal and minim. So it really is a very similar idea in that regard. Like wow. And then the Rama quotes the Ran that if someone recited the bracha of shechiyanu when he made the sukkah, meaning constructed it, so then that's already good. Sogile, that's good. You get rid of this bar down here. There we go. Okay, so then that would already be good. So we say from over here that what? That b'diavad, if it was already done and a person recited the bracha of shechiyanu when he made the sukkah, you see that it would actually work. To the extent that if he didn't eat in the sukkah on the first night, in which case he never recited a shechiyanu in the sukkah, he wouldn't need to recite a new one the next day when he finally eats in the sukkah. Yesterday we explained perhaps an understanding of these two halachas, how they're not contradictory, is because this is saying that you didn't eat in your sukkah on the first night, right? You made the bracha in your house. It's not going to count because at the end of the day, the bracha wasn't made for the sukkah itself. It was made for the holiday of Sukkos. It was made for the yontif itself. And therefore, even though you recited the shechiyanu in your house and you had in mind to cover your sukkah, it doesn't work. Because the sukkah wasn't involved. The sukkah wasn't in the picture, so to say. Unlike the second case where if you made the bracha when you were making the sukkah, that will cover you even though it's not sukkah yet. Because it has to do with the sukkah. It was in the sukkah. Perhaps that could be the explanation. Mishnah Berurah Hay says, "Kishol b'sukkah, when you eat in the sukkah, rotolomer lamachar b'yom," meaning to say the next day. Mishum sukkah, because of the sukkah, the habracha sheberach me'esmol bebeso hayrak b'shvil chag, because the bracha that you recited the previous day in your house, that was only because of the yontif itself. The beracha goes into a few ideas, which the truth of the matter is that we already discussed. First of all, he's saying an important rule with shechiyanu over here. The potential bracha of shechiyanu can only be recited if you made your sukkah within 30 days of Sukkos. However, if you did it before that, that wouldn't be good. You would not recite a shechiyanu. It was too early. You know, it's a tough Reish Chaf Hey shaila and discussion. But a lot of times you see that people feel more comfortable if the sukkah is already up beforehand. Preferably, you're not supposed to build your sukkah before Yom Kippur. It's supposed to be right after Yom Kippur, you build your sukkah. And that's already old news. We already learned a lot about that. And you see over here that there's different levels of a full start, so to say, of too early.
This is talking about this is talking about everything we're referring to here is talking about the stach, right? We're not talking about the walls you can put up any. The walls are not even.
All right, let me tell you. Technically speaking, if the wall's up but the schach isn't up, it's considered it's not a sukkah. But in general, it seems like you should just do the whole thing after Yom Kippur. Now, if someone's very nervous, they say, I can't do it before, I can't do it after, not enough time, only 4 days, whatever. Maybe it's gonna rain. If you're gonna do it before, you see that now that's not preferable, but you see that there is even a spot which is even less preferable than that, which isn't preferable over there, which is building it before 30 days before Sukkot, not within 30 days of Sukkot. To the extent that you wouldn't even be reciting this potential bracha, or there wouldn't be a shechiyanu that would be covered by kiddush. You just wouldn't say shechiyanu on it. That's an interesting tidbit that we could glean from this beracha. The beracha over here discusses if you recited the bracha of Shehechiyanu when you were making the sukkah. Prima Gadam isn't sure. Could you make that bracha anymore? Even kiddush, he's not sure if you can make it. Which is interesting because I would say kiddush, you could say Shehechiyanu regardless for the actual holiday. Beracha Yosef discusses this. All these Rishonim of the beracha quotes, they say that you don't make the bracha. However, the Rambam, the Ramban, and other Rishonim say that you would make the bracha, and the conclusion is Safik bracha Sahaka lo yivared. You wouldn't make the bracha. Look, at the end of the day, we don't recite Shehechiyanu anyways. We just get covered by kiddush. But
This would be practical if it was arranged.
yes, excellent point. I didn't think about that. Excellent point. We're just gonna go through a few of the points in the Dershu. Mishnah Berurah will start with that. Dershu in 1 says the Mishnah Berurah said it's not the completion of the mitzvah, so it's implied that a sukkah is the beginning of a mitzvah. It's also explicit in the Rama at the end of Hilchos Yom Kippur and Siman Tov Reish Chav Daled Sif Hey, as well as Siman Tov Reish Chav Hey Sif Al, the beginning of Hilchos Sukkah. That you should be involved with the construction of the sukkah immediately after Yom Kippur. Since you fulfill a mitzvah when you build the sukkah. Mitzvah habal yodcha al tach mitzvah. A mitzvah that comes to your hand, do not leaven it. The Ber Halacha in Siman Tov Reish Nun Vav, which is the halachas of the Dalaminim. The Ber Halacha says that according to the Yerushalmi, the actual construction and building of the sukkah is a mitzvah of v'yatzim. It's an independent mitzvah that has nothing to do with the mitzvahs actually sitting in the sukkah. And therefore, we should recite the bracha, like we learned yesterday, saying that Hashem, you commanded us in your mitzvahs to make a sukkah. And therefore, there's a mitzvah to specifically build it. But according to the Bavli, not the Yerushalmi, that's the Jerusalem Talmud. But in the Bavli, the Talmud Bavli, the Babylonian Gemara, in Suka and Mem Vav, as well as Menachos Mem Beis, you don't make a bracha. And that's obviously how we hold, as we already learned about yesterday. So the Ber Halacha explains that the Bavli holds that the asiyah, the making of the sukkah, is not the main part of the mitzvah. Nevertheless, the Aruch LaNer says, as well as others, that from Rashi, it's clear that even according to the Bavli, there's still a mitzvah to build the sukkah. And you should do it yourself. It's also clear from other places as well. The Rashbesh, as well as the Shal Shuvas Chtam Sofer, as well as Moshe Feinstein, say that making the sukkah is only a hechsher mitzvah, a preparation for a mitzvah, a preparatory mitzvah. This really belongs in Siman Tov Reish Chafei, not here. Yeah.
Why is Sukkah different, let's say, than matzah, according to those opinions that say that you should, make a bracha on the building? When they make the matzah, right, they don't make a shechiyanu on that.
What's the question about the at what point would you make a bracha on the matzah?
You don't make a bracha on making the matzah.
You don't make a bracha on it.
When would you make the bracha? Maybe when you're
Yeah.
I'm saying when you bake it.
Whatever
it is.
Is there a mitzvah to bake the matzah? That's a mitzvah? Or is the mitzvah consuming the matzah? The baking is only a means to an end.
And also just like, but he was saying that some people hold that the building of the sukkah is a mitzvah.
That's the building of the sukkah. The
So
building of the sukkah is a mitzvah.
And they derive that from, not exeris kasav, I guess, but this.
Where is that learned from? Exactly, that it's a mitzvah. That's already
We didn't see
what to look into. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, according
Technicalities.
to that, why shouldn't, you should maybe it's
Well, we could establish one thing, which is I would assume that making matzah is not is not a mitzvah. It's a means to an end. Way to get to the matzah. We could assume like most of these poskim, building a sukkah is the mitzvah. So now we have to tweak the way that you ask that question, which is a good question, which is why is it that building the sukkah is a mitzvah, but baking the matzah isn't? That's already a question. Baking matzah is much easier than building a sukkah. Building a sukkah is a whole
Process.
but I mean the holiday is called Sukkos. Discussed in the past original recordings of blind.com under the Sukkos Divrei Torah section. I think it was from 13 years ago. 2012 should be Yom Tovim section.
Technically, it's not Chag Matzah.
Right over here. And it should be Sukkos Table Talk. It should be this one. 2012 over here. Why is the holiday of Sukkos called Sukkos as opposed to why is it called Sukkos as opposed to Dalaminim? One of these pieces over here, right over here, it's this first piece. Why is it called Sukkos? If you're interested, you could just pause the screen and read this, or you could listen to the whole shir. But so the sukkah represents the whole holiday. You could say Pesach also. Chag HaMatzos, a major part is the matzahs, but the truth of the matter is that Pesach is about a lot more than matzah. Sukkos, we could already say a major part of Sukkos is the sukkah, like a tremendously large part. Pesach, one could argue, the matzah, it's important, but is it as important as the sukkah is to the holiday of Sukkos? You could argue the other way. But again, that's just logic. I'm sure there's other ideas behind that, but it's what to look into there. Yeah, definitely. Not sure. Just to be honest. Just speaking it out more. According to this idea that we've been learning about today, yesterday, that the beracha of Shehechiyanu that we recite on kiddush covers our beracha, potential Shehechiyanu that we need to recite for the construction of the sukkah. We have a major dilemma, a halachic issue over here. Charles Juba, Shevet Alevi, Chilik Gimel Siman Samach Tes says that women recite the bracha of Shehechiyanu when they light candles. They're able to answer Amen even so over the bracha of Shehechiyanu during Kiddush. One would think that's a halachic interruption. It's a hefsek because they already said their Shehechiyanu, and they already did that. It's an interruption. So on Sukkos, there's Shehechiyanu that they say when the light covers the sukkah, and on Pesach, the Shehechiyanu covers the matzah, whatever it is, Pesach night. Now, excuse me, that's the bracha of Shehechiyanu during Kiddush. It covers all of that, right? This is why it's not a hefsek. Because for some weird reason, I said this over a little wrong the first time, meaning 30 seconds ago. For some interesting reason, when women recite the bracha of Shehechiyanu on the candles, that doesn't cover the sukkah and it doesn't cover the matzah. But not for some reason. I mean, it's not Seisuchavim yet. 3 stars never came out when they light. It could be false start, too early. Kiddush, by definition, has to be after when 3 stars come out. So it's already the night. Now it's already night. It could cover both in the mitzvah of sukkah on Sukkos, in the mitzvah of matzah on Pesach. Yeah. So therefore, that's why it's not an interruption. But guess what? We have a major dilemma.
Yes.
Shavuos. Because Shavuos, there's no special mitzvah of Shavuos. It's all about learning Torah. Cheesecake, yeah. So The shechiyanu is only on the Yom Tov. So now it could be a major halachic interruption. And therefore, according to some, they actually wouldn't answer Amen on the shechiyanu during Kiddush. That's actually the ruling of Rav Yosef Shalom Eliyashiv in the Asher Ish Chelik Gimel Perek Chavav Os Aleph. Wait, hold it.
That's the Shah. That's the Chevrolet.
Hold on, that was the Shevet Alevi. Now, yeah, that's the ruling of Rav Eliyashiv. The ruling of Rav Eliyashiv specifically on Sukkos, they're able to answer Amen because of the mitzvah of Sukkah, to the Shehechiyanu that's said during Kiddush, where the way that they're quoting this is he only said Sukkos. It could be that Shavuos would be a problem.
So it's like going to Shah. Yeah.
Shevet Alevi, Rav Eliyashiv. I mean, you have to look up this Asher Ish. I mean, we could have taken me 40 seconds to pull it up, but it's usually very short, whatever is said there. Very short, quick ideas. However, Moshe Feinstein, Tzatzal, and the Shal Tzhuva goes back to Chaim Chelik Dalet Siman Chaf Aleph, Os Tes, as well as Siman Kuf Aleph, Os Aleph writes that no, they're allowed to answer Amen. It's not considered a halachic interruption, even on Shavuos. Since by the Makadesh, since for the person who is reciting Kiddush, this bracha is already part of Kiddush, and the listener needs to listen and he needs to answer Amen on every single bracha in Kiddush. Therefore, it's a regular Kiddush. We're not like, okay, some people listening are only going to be covered by this part of Kiddush, but not that part. It's not the way it works. There's one Kiddush, and that's it.
According to Rabbi Shevet Levi,
Yeah.
right? We say that by shofar, right? We say that we're allowed to answer Amen to the brachos in the middle of the Tkiyas, but not Baruch Shema,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
So why is that Amen not a hefsek according to that? And this one would be.
Where's the? Why would it be a hefsek? It has to do with tefillah.
If you're already yotze your tefillah, right? Technically, you're not.
This is part of the davening. Well, Chazar Sashatz.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all part of davening. It's what was enacted. It's not a hefsek. Serves tefillah. Yeah. So they say that it's not an interruption. That's Rabbi Feinstein. It's his ruling. There's a kiddush that was enacted also. Shlomo Zalman Auerbach and the Shalosh Shuvas Mincha Shlomo Chelik Beis and Mincha Oz Beis, as well as the Shalosh Shuvas Orlatzion. Chelik Gimel Perik Yuches Tshuva Beis is permissible to answer Amen because of that idea. Nevertheless, what Shlomo Zalman Auerbach is quoted saying in the Halicha Shlomo and Sukas Paraktes Sif Hey that on Sukkos it's good that you should have intent during Kiddush that it's covering your mitzvah sukkah. That's what the woman should have in mind. You don't have nothing to lose by doing that. So, anyways, this was an interesting discussion, which remember one of my friends once brought this up to me many years ago in yeshiva, and I didn't learn this idea yet. I mean, I just learned this a few days ago, the first time, from what I remember. I don't remember it well enough. I mean, now you sit on it, you think about it, and he brought this point up. I just thought, yeah, they could answer. I mean, now I see what he was referring to as a problem. I think it was around shows. It's many years ago. Moved to Muncie since then. I wonder how many kids he has now. But anyways, this is the idea over here. Let's say someone ate on the first night of Sukkos in a sukkah that doesn't belong to him, and he recited the bracha of Shehechiyanu over there. He then goes back to his house eventually to eat in his own sukkah. So Rashi Pesach Frank, in his Mikrei Kodesh and Sukkos Chelik Al Siman Chafei, is unsure what the halacha would be in that case. Seemingly, perhaps, very likely, that he would need to recite a new bracha on his actual sukkah. And the shechiyanu that he said at Kiddush won't exempt the sitting in the sukkah afterwards in his own sukkah, like the Rama said. Which is a surprising ruling, just hearing the ruling, hearing that psak.
You can hear it.
Yeah, based on what we're learning, but you tell it to someone who never learned this, they would be shocked by such a idea. However, Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach in the Halicha Shlomo and Sukas Perek Tes in the Dvar Halacha, Os Yud Beis says you should not. There's no reason at all to return and recite the bracha on your sukkah again. No reason to do it.
Seems to be the prevalent custom.
Not to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I never heard of this. Why? Because Ikar Hadin from the letter of the law. When you said that shechiyanu earlier, the time for reciting the shechiyanu is really when you sit in the sukkah, not when you build it. Because that's when you're really fulfilling the mitzvah. That's what it's all about. It just happens to be that since you began to be involved with it, and the simcha, the happiness began already when you built it, since you're already involved with the construction, and you're already happy when you built it, so then technically speaking, it's fitting to recite the bracha then and there. But there's no logic to say that after you already made the bracha on the mitzvah itself, aka sitting in the sukkah, now you need to return and make the bracha again for the construction of the sukkah. In other words, what this is saying, the main priority over here is sitting in the sukkah. So if you already made it on sitting in the sukkah, it doesn't make sense that now you need to go make it for building the sukkah.
Wait, so this whole thing, I know about saying the shame mitzvah, matzahs mitzvah, right? You
L'shem
say this
matzahs mitzvah or l'shem
matzahs, yeah,
mitzvahs matzah?
isn't it the same mitzvah, the
You say
shame matzah?
l'shem mitzvah sitzis.
I know, but what
You
when
don't
we
say l'shem sitzis mitzvah.
Yes, I say in the matzah factory.
No, in the matzah factory they say l'shem mitzvahs matzah.
Yeah. Okay.
They don't say l'shem matzah mitzvah.
oh
Okay,
shame
carry
mitzvah
on,
matzah.
David. I just
All
wanted
right,
to correct you
so
there.
what's the shot in saying why do we? Wait, is there any time when if you don't say this, you're not fulfilling the mitzvah? You're not. I'm trying to think when else we say this besides, and it's like you have to designate that you're doing this for a mitzvah's sake. In Dibor.
What are you verbally designating over here? You're not verbally designating anything. What
You're
are you
verbally
talking?
designating that you're doing a mitzvah. You're doing it for the sake of the mitzvah.
Where do you see any verbal designation here? Guy's saying kiddush. He's saying shechiyanu at kiddush. Still good for him.
No, but I thought we were talking about building, putting this sukkah together.
Building the sukkah over here, we're not talking. Oh, yeah. So what about building the sukkah?
So what's wrong? If you
We're talking about over here, David. A fella said shechiyanu in his friend's sukkah. Does he need to
yeah.
say it again when he goes to his own sukkah? He said it on sukkahs when he was eating. Does he need to say it again? The answer is no. Why? Because the main priority is sitting in the sukkah, eating in the sukkah. And therefore, it doesn't matter if he's in his own sukkah or someone else's sukkah, there's no difference. If he made the bracha, wherever it is, that bracha will cover the potential shechiyanu that he needed to recite when he built the sukkah. Even if he's not in his own sukkah. Why? Because really the truth of the matter is the main priority is the eating in the sukkah, not the building of the sukkah. So it doesn't make sense that now you're going to need to redo a bracha for something that you did in the main priority
To
plan
be in the sukkah.
for something which is secondary. Yeah.
Is it?
So what is from me the bracha? Shemei Kone. He listened and he answered. So
And what would
it's as
happen
if
if
he
he
made it.
didn't want to be yotze with his friend Shehechiyanu?
So then how on earth is he going to eat? He has to say his own shechiyanu for kiddush for the Yom Tov.
Is it better to say it in your own sukkah or no?
Oh,
No. It doesn't.
so that's what we're discussing now. So look at the next line. Similar to this, Rav Nisim Karelitz in the Chuchani and Sukas Perek Yud Beis of Katan Yud Aleph says it's possible that lichatchila you should make the bracha of shechiyanu in a sukkah which isn't yours. And
Whoa,
then,
whoa.
yeah, it's surprising. And then you wouldn't need to return and make the bracha on sitting in your own sukkah. Since the
Yeah,
bracha isn't specifically on making the sukkah, it's just on the mitzvahs in general.
let's say
And
you put
there-
together,
and
you
therefore,
put,
let's just finish this. And therefore, you're able to make the bracha on the sukkah when you fulfill the mitzvah of sitting in the sukkah.
Hmm.
What's he saying over here? You can make the bracha of Shehechiyanu on a sukkah which isn't yours, and you don't need to return and make a bracha on sitting in your own sukkah.
Well, when I talk about, what about not a friend, but just a random sukkah too?
Yeah. כיוון שהברכה בדווקא על עשיית הסוכה על הכלל מצווה, ועתה ואם כן יכול הוא לברך על סוכה כשמקיים במצווה שיבה סוכה. This is written a little weird. That's surprising. I would have thought maybe you should have. I don't understand this ruling. Why should you make bracha of shechiyanu on a sukkah which isn't yours?
I'm saying the main thing is the yeshiva, I guess, and all the other aspects of the mitzvah, not the builder.
Yeah.
But that's what I saw.
Yeah, but why would it be? Why is it better to do it on a sukkah that's not yours?
Because it seems
Just
that
do it in yours. Who cares? What's the difference? I don't understand this psak.
Okay.
What? You have an answer? If you have an answer, give me an answer.
I'm saying that.
You really don't know if you go into a random sukkah, you really don't know who put up the schach, and you don't know all of this stuff
Okay,
behind
assuming
it.
it's kosher. Wait, what's your pshat though? What's your answer?
So he's saying, I think that the shechiyanu is on all the other aspects of the mitzvah as well. And that's why you can use it in somebody else's sukkah, because it's on the aspect of the
I
yeshiva.
understand that, but why should the bracha specifically be recited on a sukkah that isn't yours? It could be done on yours also. You understand? Yud Beis, Yud Aleph. Let's see what they say here. Maybe we could look at that Asher Ish also while we got the oats already popped open. Yud Beis, Yud Aleph. Okay, here's Yud. Plus of Shemri here. No, this isn't it. Oh, here. It's Yud Beis was a mistake. Oh, it was a Yud Aleph in the footnote. Okay, they quote that. Yud Aleph right over here. Make it bigger for you guys. Uchani, Shehechiyanu. Okay. Efshel var Shehechiyanu. Look at the paragraph on the left. Efshel var Shehechiyanu below Yom Tov Rishon gam Sukkos shel Chaver. It's possible to recite the bracha of Shehechiyanu on Yom Tov night, the first night of Sukkos. In the sukkah, in your friend's sukkah. The beracha Shehechiyanu kaya al asiyas sukkah v'al Yom Tov al mitzvah sukkah. The bracha of Shehechiyanu covers you threefold. Number one, on the construction of the sukkah. Number two, on the actual holiday itself of Sukkot. And number three, on the mitzvah of Sukkah, meaning sitting and eating in the Sukkah and drinking, etc. Covers you for everything. Do we misread this?
Might maybe presented a little bit.
Wow. Doesn't say Efshel lechachila. They're misquoting this. Well, hold on.
Perception.
It's possible to recite the bracha of Shehechiyanu from a time when you make the sukkah. And if you didn't make the bracha then when you made the sukkah, make the bracha on the end of itself. Even when you're in your friend's sukkah, you can make the bracha on the specifics of the mitzvah of sukkah. The bracha will cover you. So this is a blunder, fellas. This is a major mistake. And it's unfortunate because I would argue 98% of people who learn the Dirshan Mishnah Brew do not look up their sources. This is wrong. He never said this. This is a major misquote. It's not true. Lechatchila, preferably you don't say a shechiyanu in a sukkah that's not yours. That's ridiculous. It's not true. There's no such concept. Saying it's possible. And therefore, it's possible that you could begin and you could say Shehechiyanu at the time of when you make the sukkah. And if you didn't make the bracha then, you could do it on the Yom Tov itself.
Wait, so what's your issue? Your issue is that the source doesn't mention anything about not your own sukkah?
My issue or anyone who has half of a brain's issue with this? This is a major misquote. He never said such a thing.
About someone else's sukkah.
He mentioned over here, if you're in your sukkah of your friend on the first night of Sukkos, you could make shechiyanu there and you'll be covered. It will cover your potential shechiyanu for the yontif that you need to make. It will cover the potential, not saying potential, excuse me. It will cover the shechiyanu you need to say for the yontif. It covers your shechiyanu you need to say for sitting in the sukkah. And it even covers the potential shechiyanu you need to say when you construct the sukkah. Not that lichachila you should go in your friend's sukkah. What on earth are they talking about here? Your answer is it's a major typo. Major mess up. It's not my style to call companies and everything and point out all their mess ups. But if you guys want to do a chesed, you should call up there's your Mishnah Brura. You should tell them Siman Tov Reish Mem Vav, footnote 8. When you quoted the Chut Shani, you're wrong. This is a total mess up.
I don't think I'm going to call them.
If you want to do a chesed, you should bomb call them. Should call them like
Actually,
crazy.
I think there's a number in the front, right? Where's it
Of
printed?
course there is. This is wrong. Email them.
Does Rob sure he has you sure you have the latest version?
Yeah, this is the newest version. This is Madura. The newest version over here. The revised and the fixed and edited version. This is another reason why you don't give deadlines to authors.
Okay.
You don't give deadlines to authors. You rush, you make mistakes. You got to go through it over and over and over again. We'll end today's session with this. Tomorrow we're going to wrap up the Siman. Okay, I thought we were going to do it today. We got caught up on the shocker. I didn't realize when I quickly learned this yesterday when I was watching my 4 kids in the playground. I picked up on this now. I rushed, I think, then one of them was crying. Anyways, everyone should have a wonderful day.
All right.
Also, put up the second recording on the 9th parak of Yeshua. Get on that.
Instead of giving 3 days of it, you know?
Safke.
Yeah, it's up.
Safke. Yerushalmi.
I missed.
Enjoy.
All right, all right, have a good day.
Have a wonderful day.
Have a good day.
Fortunate shock.